What's up? What's up? It's time for another video. Time for another video. Hot. Right, all right. Racism. Racism has a function. Oppression has a function. Nobody truly hates a person. Nobody truly oppresses a person or a group of people. You really oppress a group of people. Nobody oppresses a group of people because of their skin. This is the deception that is being taught in America right now. That black people are an oppressed group of people. Historically oppressed, but they don't really give context as to why. So we assume that black people in America are oppressed because of our blackness. So we get bunched together with a bunch of people called people of color who are oppressed because of their skin, or who are assumed to be oppressed because of their skin. And because of that, they get the resources and benefits. Because in America, the black people has been historically oppressed. We went through slavery, we went through conquest, Jim Crow, we just constant brutality. And because they associate our mistreatment due to our skin, this allows everybody with skin color to benefit in America, right? But the truth is this: the reason black people in America have been systematically and historically oppressed by the dominant society, the Caucasians, I would say, because not all the Caucasians have, power. A lot of them are second, first, third, like immigrants. They came to America to pursue power, happiness, opportunity. And this is the key right here. They came to acquire power and wealth. Illinois Governor Pritzker's grandfather came to America with $6 in his pocket. Now the Pritzkers are billionaires. They didn't come to America with billions. They came to America to steal, to acquire billions. Now this is the key to the black people's oppression. The reason the so-called black people in America has been historically oppressed is because of our wealth, because of our land and our territory. The dominant conquering group, after they have been successful in the conquest, they must subjugate the people and they must erase the people's memory. This was discussed in Machiavelli's The Prince. You must erase the memory of their own self, and you must teach them that you have always ruled, and you must be in their presence as the constant ruler. But they must also oppress the people. They must also be very brutal to the people, because the people generationally have been experienced this brutality, possibly lost in translation. The real purpose of the brutality has been erased. So the current people now, they're just practicing brutality. They're just practicing racism. Maybe the ones that have positions of power and intellect, who are adept, but the oppressed people now do not know why they're oppressed. The oppressed people back then knew why they were oppressed. You had brick masons, you had architects, you had artists, scholars who were enslaved, seamsters who can make clothes, who can build houses, build cities. That was the reason for their enslavement, so they could build for the conquered people, for the oppressor, because the oppressor did not have the skills that the people had, and the people would not teach it to the oppressor, or the oppressor didn't have the time to learn it, because all they know is warfare. So in the meantime, in between time, we're going to force these people to do it, and we're going to threaten the annihilation of their children. We're going to use that as a hostage. We're going to use their family future as a hostage. As long as we have their children as a tool to be used, if you don't comply, they will always use their ability. It took white America up until the 1900s to learn how to be carpenters and plumbers, architects, builders. And to this day, they still can't do it on the same level as our ancestors. But the truth is this: the black Americans are really the indigenous people of America. And the indigenous people of America was highly sophisticated technologically. We had electricity, we had trains, cars, we had everything you see right now. The Caucasians are just reverse engineering the technology that the black people had. And why do you think the black people are the ones actually inventing everything? What's his name? Russell. He's the guy who did the cell phone. Yeah, a black guy named Russell. His last name is Russell. You know, who else? Granville T. Woods actually did telephones from Ohio. He was the first to send an articulate voice over a telegraph. Like, the reason for all of this, creativity is because we are the originators of this. And this is our original land. This is our original infrastructure. And this is the reason for the oppression and the racism. It is to keep us dominated, keeping us ignorant. Why do you think the only people on planet Earth who don't know their nationality are black Americans? Black is not a nationality. American is. And we're the only people in America with the American in our nationality. African American. Literally. We're the only people in the world who are really not just us, but South Africans. There's only two people on earth with the name African in their nationality. That is South Africans and African Americans. Everybody else has a name. They know their country. Nigeria, Ghana, Cuba, you got South America. What is South America? South America is a continent, but you got a lot of countries in South America. But there's no country called South America, but there's a country called South Africa. But the so-called black Americans do not have a land outside of America that is our original land that we know of. We know we have set up Liberia as a colony. We have set up Sierra Leone, but we don't know because of the oppression, because it was in a oppressor's interest to strip us of our identity in order to utilize and take control of our wealth. They came over here from Europe with pennies or flies in their pocket. Then they became millionaires because America is rich. Our cities are worth trillions of dollars. And these cities were built by our ancestors. Chicago, San Francisco, New York, these are ancient cities. But the real estate value is in the hundreds of trillions or more dollars. Priceless. And this is how they became wealthy from Europe. You come here with nothing, now you have something. Yet the people who've been here for generations have nothing. How is it that a person could come here from another country and gain wealth, but the people who are been here for hundreds of years don't have wealth? It's because we really do have the wealth. We just don't know it. We really are the original people of America. This is our original land. This is our territory. This is our birthright. And this is the reason for oppression, constant generational oppression. Because in international natural law, the heirs of the land have a perpetual claim to the land forever. This is the reason for the perpetual oppression, because if you actually don't get oppressed, actually, this is also the reason why we're not encouraged to travel the world. Because if we traveled the world and we went to places that haven't really been conquered, Japan have their original history. Ethiopia has their original history back to the beginning. So if we went to Ethiopia, they could teach us who we are in the historical record. Where is our place in the record? Even England has been conquered in the 1106, I think, England was conquered by France. So the monarchy in England right now is actually French. But France is extremely old. It goes back into when the Carthaginians was around. France was actually part of Carthage, the Carthaginian Empire, but they have a historic record. Really, France was conquered in the French Revolution, but England has a historic record of who Black Americans are. And in the book Up from Slavery by Booker T. Washington, and I had the discussion with one of the people on the channel, Booker T. Washington was given a vacation in his book after he did Tuskegee Institute. After he was successful, he built his students built 66 buildings with their own hands. You know, they modernized, they enhanced modern education. They actually pioneered modern education, meaning you have to learn practice and theory and got to be proficient in both by the time you graduate. But when he went to England, he went to France and England. But when he went to England, he met Queen Victoria. And when he met Queen Victoria, Booker T. Washington, he was taught things about America that he never learned in his life. One of the things he mentioned was that many countries all over the earth at the time of the Civil War were pressuring America to free the Black people. And England was the main country, the United Kingdom. And he did not know that until he went to talk to the people himself. And there were other things that he learned that he put in his other books. You know, I'm not going to mention the other things that he learned, but this is the key. In order for you to actually learn who you really are, the oppressor can voluntarily teach you, but that's against the oppressor's interest, because the oppressor needs your resources, they need your wealth. Or you could go to other nations and they have a record of who you are because your ancestors possibly did business with them. And also, this is the reason why Africa was colonized with King Leopold, the Berlin Conference, because Africa is very rich in resources, natural resources. And the oppression, the brutalization of the African people wasn't because of their blackness. It was because of their valuable resources. They used brutality, violence. And now the IMF used loans. And China is over there using the idea of giving them loans because the African dollar might not be valuable. So if you want to actually modernize the infrastructure, you need to, you really don't need it, but you purchase products from other countries. If you don't have the infrastructure to actually make tanks or to make bulldozers, to make hydraulic machinery, to get this equipment, if you can't produce it yourself, you have to get a monetary system that is value enough to purchase this, right? So China come through and offer the African nations billions of dollars in US dollars, really, because US dollars is the standard of trade. And the Africans take this money and they invest it into the infrastructure and the materials that they need, the equipment, because their dollar is probably so undervalued, it's worthless. So China is dominating using economics, and the international banks, the IMF, the World Bank, is using economics to dominate Africa, because using violence will always lead to a resistance and a revolt. It happened in America. The black people revolted because of the violence, and we actually had the Civil War. But before that, we had a lot of people fleeing or fighting because of the brutality. Like, human beings can only take so much violence. So the best way to do it now, for them to dominate Africa and to get their resources, is to use money and loans and foreclose on them. But in America, black people are still oppressed, where we're oppressed by being deemed as a undesirable, nothing, low class colored person. And our color is taught and is believed that our color is the reason for our position. And because we have this color, Therefore, we'll never ascend because we don't really realize that the truth about our oppression is not our color. It's the fact that they have, and they still are, using our wealth illegally, without permission. They're on our territory, they're on our land, and they're using things that our ancestors left for us. And it's something I heard Huey P. Newton say. He say it's called trespass the bonus aspertatus. That's what they call it. Meaning you're trespassing, you're using somebody's wealth, and then you turned it into an empire, and then you're taking the benefits of it for yourself. You didn't turn it to an empire, but it is an empire. You just renamed it. You trespassing the bonus aspertatus. You illegally utilizing another person's land, resources, and territory, and you're benefiting from it without, you're not even sharing it with the original people. You have so much fear of losing the things that you robbed from us that you just sitting back letting us think that our color is the problem. And we'll never achieve any type of freedom or inclusion or wealth due to the fact that we have this color. And our oppression status is based on the color. So all the colored people come to America to take advantage of that. But all the colored people in America that come from other countries, they don't have the same history. They don't have the same claim to the land in this country. They have their own particular maybe they do. Maybe they do, because maybe, they have descent. Maybe we went to another country, had children, or maybe we was sent to those islands to be slaves from America. But regardless of that, the fact is racism and oppression has a function, and it is to deprive and strip a people of everything that they have without them knowing it, without them realizing it, without their descendants to realizing it. And it is necessary, in order for you to keep utilizing the stolen resources that you have to keep your foot on the people's neck. And people now do not see the fact that the oppressor is the problem. They think it's their skin. If they had different colored skin, they wouldn't be oppressed. But Europeans oppress Europeans too. White people oppress white people. They rob each other too. If a person have land with oil on it and they don't realize it, a white man come up and swindle the man out of his land to get his wealth. It don't matter what your color is. If they coming to rob, destroy, and deceive, and to steal what's yours, they're gonna do it. It's not because of your skin, because of nothing else. It's because they are a criminal. They are a violent, brutal thief and a criminal. That's it. That's the real reason for oppression. It's not the oppressed people's fault. It's not your skin that's the problem. It's the oppressors that's the problem. But that's about it. Did this little video.